Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cooking with CandiWare, and today we're going to be making little pecan jewelry. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, this is the place where we make adorable miniature food jewelry. I have my co-host Mr. Blaze down here. It's after work, so he's obsessed for attention when I get home. So this is the perfect time to film. But anyways, like I said, this is all about pecans, and this is something that I get asked about often, especially to sell. So I thought, why not make a new pie and see how it turns out, and if I liked it, I would use it for a video and also for the one-of-a-kind show, and sure enough, I am really happy with the outcome. So now we're going to turn it into a video for you guys. But anyways, like always, don't forget to check out the description box where I have a link to all of the items in this video. Also, don't forget to click on the little bell to stay up to date with what's going on with CandiWare. Don't forget to give this video a big old thumbs up. Leave a comment on what type of pie is your favorite, because I would love to know. And if you don't feel like making one of these, you can hop on right over to my shop and pick one up for yourself, so don't forget to check out my shop. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right onto the DIY, shall we? So like always, you can find all of the items in the description box below. So first we're going to be starting with some caramel color, and we're going to be taking off a decent amount of that with chocolate. As you can see, a very small portion of chocolate. And then we're going to be taking a whole bunch of translucent, and we're going to mix those all together, and you're going to keep mixing this. Now this is going to be the filling for our pecan pie. So now we're going to be taking our Sahara clay, and we're going to just be flattening that out as cylindrical as you can make it. And then we're going to be taking our caramel chocolate mixture that we made, and you're going to make that into a kind of like a loonie, I guess. Whatever kind of size you want for this. You want some type of thickness for sure, because this is going to be what gives it the pie shape. So then we're going to be taking our X-Acto knife and just cutting a circle around the Sahara clay. And then we're going to lift up the Sahara clay and then pull it over our filling color. I ended up not making it thin enough, so make sure you make it quite thin. I mean, you want some thickness to it, but you really don't want it all that much, if that makes sense. Because you don't want it to overtake the filling size. So just know that it always takes practice. I mean, I don't always get it right the first time. So again, we're going to be pulling up the sides. And then I like to roll it, as you can see there, to try and push the two clay pieces together. And then you can cut off the excess of the Sahara and then just use that again for another DIY. I like to try and reuse wherever I can with my clay. So then you can try and just get the pieces to fold in together a little bit better. And then from there you're going to be taking a small amount of Sahara, and we're just going to be making a super long snake. This is going to be the top crust of the pie. So as long as it's relatively the same size all the way around your snake, then you're good. So I'm just cutting off my excess and then taking one piece and starting to wrap that around. I ended up taking a little bit off of the side crust, as you can see. It just was poking out too far, so I decided I would take it off. And what this pie, it really doesn't matter because we're going to have all those pecans on top, so it's going to cover up what's there. So anyways, you're just going to add on the crust and then cut off the excess. So from here I'm going to be taking some rubbing alcohol, and I like to just clean up the, especially the outside clay as much as I can, just because, you know, dust and particles get trapped in your clay, sadly, and especially with the lighter colors it's really easy to see what's going on, so why not clean it up at this stage, right? You do have to be gentle with it, because you can take away too much or move around the clay. So then from there we're going to be taking our brown. I made it slightly lighter than the darker brown, as you could see there, or I made two different types of brown, one lighter, one darker, and it's to give a variance in the different colors of the pecans that we're adding on top. So now we're just going to be cutting off a couple small amounts, and then I'm just putting it onto my work surface. And then from there you can add some texture. I did that with some foil, and then I'm taking a small dotting tool and adding in 2 imprints. Oh, excuse me. So after that we're going to be taking our same needle tool and just adding on some texture around the crust to make it look like it's really a pie. And you're going to do this all the way around. Try and keep the same spacing between it. After that we're going to be taking some chalk pastels in the light and dark brown, and I always like to start with the lighter color first and then work your way down to the deeper color. So just adding on some of the light brown around the crust, and then you can go in with the darker brown and give it a little bit more of a baked look. And then you can do this around the sides and then around the bottom. And then I decided I would add some texture with, oh my goodness, why am I lost for words? I added some texture with sandpaper. It's getting late. And then we're going in with the darker color on the bottom. So I showed you how to make the 2 pecans, and then from there I made a whole bunch, and now we're just going to randomize how we put them on top of the pie. So you can put them next to each other, you can put them on top of each other, whatever direction you want. So you're just going to keep doing this until you have it completely full like that. And then from here, this is an optional step, but I like doing this just because I think it looks a little bit nicer. So I took some liquid Sculpey, or Fimo I should say, and I'm taking some caramel brown color and mixing that all up. And if you can tell, there you can actually see which of the colors are the dark brown and the little bit of the lighter brown. I mean, it's very slight, but that's what I was trying to go for. So what we're doing with this little mixture I'm making here is we're just filling in any little holes that I couldn't fill with the pecans, and it just gives it a more realistic look, I find. So you're just gonna go through and fill up all the little holes that you see all over the pie. And then once you're done, you're going to put it in the fridge for 10 minutes. So I've just popped it out of the fridge, and now we are going to be cutting it down. And the reason why I put it in the fridge is just so, as you can see, it's a lot easier to cut and your clay doesn't mush, really, is the easiest way for me to explain it. So as you can see there, I cut it in half, and then in quarters, and then so on and so forth, because we want nice slices that are pretty even. So again, I'm texturing it with the foil just on the inside of the pie, and then we're using our needle tool and going in circular motions just over the crust. From there we're going to be taking some wire, and I'm going to be placing this in the back of the pecan, and you can make them into earrings, necklaces, whatever you want. These are all the ones that I decided I'd make into earrings. I did leave one blank with nothing on the back so that I could add it to a plate like you can see here. So I've baked this according to the clay's instructions, and then I put it on a little plate with a fork, and that's going to be a spoon. And now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to make it into a earring. So like always, you take your one plier with the other and wrap it around, and then just keep wrapping that around until you can't loop it any further. And then I like to pull it out and then cut off the excess. As long as it'll come out, don't force it, but usually they do, because metal and clay don't really stick together unless you have a reason like gluing it. So you're just going to do that with two, and then put on the findings and then close it up. And then you're going to take some gloss. I'm taking the Sculpey gloss and adding on the color, or sorry, the gloss just on the pecans and the filling. And then you're going to let that dry. And this is what it looks like when it's done. I am so pleased with the outcome. These turned out great, and I really hope that they do well at the One of a Kind show. Thanks so much for crafting with me, everyone. Can't wait to see you on next week's DIY. Bye!